Need you. I need you. I need you. I need you. I need you.
Alrighty.
Yes, sir.
How you doing today?
Pretty good. How about yourself, big homie?
Yeah, I'm chilling, brother, man. I mean, ready to get the job done.
You already know. You already know. Black Community Podcast in the building. BLKCP. Yeah. What's going on? I need you. That
Who's this?
joint up, yeah, that's Young Show. Need you.
It's not a bad song at all.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah. That joint sounds nice. I went on the road with him a little bit.
Oh, where?
Yeah, when I was in ATL, that's SPL. That's one of the owner of that company. And yeah, he did his thing, man. He did his thing. But that was his track, Need You, Young Show.
He black?
Yeah, man. Man, he black, man.
Hey, black people support black people. You know what I mean?
Already. You hear me? Yeah,
all right, so today, talking about building a community. And I want to give what I think would be the best way to start. Notice I said start, not finish.
Oh,
so black men. Now listen, I'm guilty of this too. Something about doing work for other black people, we get so finicky. When someone gives you a job, you have to do the job with excellence. Why? Because now you have a reputation. One person can make your future money non-existent. Let's just say, for example, it could even be a family member. You got a cousin. He actually do a job. Let's say you cook, and he wants this, and this, and he need at this such time, which let's say is 2 p.m. And let's just say chicken, broccoli, and rice. Everybody trying to be healthy.
all right.
Now, if you can't get that done, and the food be good, on time, and worth the wait, everybody like, oh, I smell something good. Is it going to taste like that? If you can't do those things, particularly black, be on time, be early, 20 minutes, 30 minutes early, so you can prepare for the worst. Prepare for the worst, plan for the best. You know what I'm saying? But you do that, and now you have a customer. You have customers that may call you back because, oh, he did a really good job. I like this presentation. I like the way he carried himself. Was he professional? Were you cursing? Were you smoking in the alleyway? Now, if you got to get a smoke, man, wait till the event is over. It's not hard. You be feeling a little, wait. You don't got to drink. You don't got to, they don't got to see you picking through your own food. Now, a chef, you got to taste as you go, but it's different than when the food is already prepared and they see you just scarfing down stuff in the back. Not cool. My point is carry yourself in a professional way. So when you're building this community, to me, here's the first part I want to get into. Black men. The same way other races of men come together to help each other. For example, a HVAC person helping out a lawyer, a doctor's office, a plumber, a dentist, a mechanic, and you have all these people that have a little network between each other. So the HVAC guy gets a, hey, can you help me at my spot? My office is hot. The lawyer. So then he's like, oh, he did a really good job of fishing, good pay, not too much, not too little. I can maybe recommend him to some other friends. And then he's like, the HVAC guy, hey, do you know a mechanic? The lawyer's like, yeah, I got a mechanic. His name is such and such. I'll connect you to. My point is that we have to network and act like we need each other. I don't know if it's social conditioning as far as the way we were brought up, but for some reason, a lot of black men, now they're starting to, but we don't work together. Shout out to the Manosphere on YouTube, Negro Manosphere to be more specific. I'm seeing all different types of podcasts working with Fresh and Fit, Kevin Samuels, O'Shea, MTR, AMF. They're just working together, doing collabs with each other, bringing each other's audience to the realm of Black people. And it's so beautiful to see because you have Black men working together, showing that we can do things together. We control, let's say, money, our reputation, our, let's say, demographic. But we can get more people to come and see us if we work together. Now, back to my analogy, my point is that if you're one of these people that fit a lawyer, a mechanic, a chef, a doctor, a dentist, if you are using your other people around HVAC, you're using the people around you, Black people, to help other Black people, eventually we'll be getting a request from whites, Asians, Hispanics, because your work will speak for itself. Show your work. So let's start with this. What do you think that men need to do to even start this, let's say, community or working together, Black men in particular? Bach? I'll keep going. So the fact is, if you can work with one person, and that one person can put your name out there, and then you work with some other people, you can then have a network of other Black men that work in other jobs that can benefit you, and you can benefit them in the long run. Be useful to the group. Be helpful to the group. And then eventually, when you're doing that, you will be seen. Now, it can't be a 1 week thing. It has to be a lifestyle. You have to want to work hard. You have to want to be out there doing what you need to do. So if you're doing all these things, we can eventually take control back of our dollar and stop spending. I mean, how many times have you seen a stimulus check get sent out and Black people at Gucci stores? What are you doing at a Gucci store? What is Gucci going to do for you besides a brand name to put on your clothing? You don't ball like that, so you got money to ball like that. You don't take what you don't have to, let's go spend on expensive clothes and stuff because I just want to. No, you don't got nothing. You ain't got shit. And you're spending your money on stuff that does not matter, like clothing, as far as very expensive clothing. Of course, you need a t-shirt on your back. And then when it comes down to after the network and after working together, it's what I've seen in the Black community, being a solid worker, not thinking just because we're all Black that I'm going to cut you slack, that I'm going to give you an extra chance because we share the same complexion. No, I'm paying you for a service. I went to you first because we're both Black, but because I understand the struggle, because I understand how hard it could be to come up. But after I give you an opportunity, if you don't take that opportunity and run, that's a problem. That makes other races look at us and go, "No, I'm not going to work with them. He's late. He doesn't really. I mean, he does a job, but it's just okay. I mean, he cooks, but his food tastes bland. I mean, he a dentist, but my molar's still messed up. He didn't really put the cap on right. Oh, the cap fell out. My point is, if you want to be useful to the group, if you want to be an individual that can work with others, you got to show your work. So, I mean, that's the first step. And that's just as the men. Also, shout out to Kevin Samuels reclaiming our image as Black men. We don't only have to be athletes, entertainers. There's more to us than those attributes. Sure, for most part, Black people are physically gifted, you could say. I haven't really walked into a lot of Black people that don't have a sort of physique if they work out or they enjoy some type of, let's say, fun activity like running. If you go to the gym playing basketball, I get it. I get it. However, that does not have to be our entire image. There are also Black men who are lawyers, who are doctors, dentists, HVAC. Get back into trades. Carpenters, electricians. We need to get back into trades or find a career that actually has a career path. the ones that you have to go to school for a while, or find a trade that you can do that you like. Plumbers. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there, but my point is that we have to be able to work together. We have to be able to be professional and not just sit around and think, oh, I'm black, it's going to work. And then after that, we get into the crux of what I call the issue. Now, when you're building a community, the community is relying on more than just the men building the area, town, city. To have a community, you need relationships, couples, women. And, hopefully this is the groundwork that's laid out for the rest of time for black people. Recently watching a Kevin Samuels broadcast, a woman brought up smiling and essentially being mad at black men if they ask to for her to smile. And it really showed me that for whatever reason, whether you can say black women's husband is the government, whether you could say there's a low level of respect for black men, but the only way to have these communities that a lot of black men want to build is we need women. Women push the culture forward, and relationships and family is how you build communities. So I don't know if any viewer really understands how much that hurt. Black men are we're wondering like, God, a smile? I can't just ask you to smile, but let's do this. I'm gonna give Bach a chance to speak on what he thinks men, particularly black men, need to do as far as building the community and how we should work together in the community for it to grow.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
My man, my man. Sorry about that. Man, I mean, it's gonna be crazy, but I hope I think this is like the foundation of the whole building it. So I think it's like a couple things that we need to like focus on when it comes to working together and building something. Community partnership, a trust, a brother relationship, just in all generalness of that. I think it should start with just having a purpose. You know what I mean? You know, what is it for? Why is it? You know what I mean? So not only do you have that purpose, but that purpose is going to give you direction into what you're building, how you're trying to build it, and also create that mindset, that awareness, so that the people who you are building this with can also have something to feel attached to when building it. I think that's number one. Is to have the purpose. I think number two is going to be, okay, you got this thing that you want to do, how you want to do it, but a lot of times, as people progress through something, they lose focus, and they lose people of that group, because what they started off with doing isn't necessarily what they're continuing to do. And I understand, growth comes But um, I think the development of the purpose and keeping it strong and keeping it focused is very very important.
So why do you think that when I mean, I know you've seen it, but some black men who do get jobs, the things that I named as negative traits are so prevalent. So the being late, the thinking because they're black, it's going to work out because they're working with another black person, the lack of professionalism. Why do you think that's so rooted in our community when it comes to working with others?
Um, well, don't get me wrong. I've had situations like that happen to myself,
Hmm.
but I think in business, like real solidified business, not like no side hustle or no. I think that black businesses work well with other black businesses, and it isn't the same type of dynamic that you would see on, some underground deal or, something that's not attached by, paperwork. You know what I mean? And the reason why I think that happens is because there's no purpose. That's why it happens. There's no purpose and there's no focus on the purpose because I have an idea. I want to do something. Somebody else has an idea. They want to do something. They see how it can go together and they're both off on their own tangent on what they want to do rather than coming together and making it a whole plan together so everybody can see the vision and be on the same track of what is about to take place, what's going on.
That reminds me of like respiration talks and how some people want this as far as just getting money. Some people want land. Some people want businesses or a whole city. Or I mean, I do think there's a lack of communication that goes on in the black community, and to me, that leads into my to. So
Well,
go
before you
ahead.
before you go there, I got a couple more steps that I think they need to take.
Oh, okay.
Purpose, a focus, purpose. With the people who are part of the community also focus on that same purpose, and it's an agreement. Then from there, in building this community, I think it needs to be also deliberate decisions about the community and its culture, whether if that's being passed down from the older generation or if it's or if it's already just a standard in how it but it being said and making changes and making concrete decisions on what's going to happen with this community deliberate and talking about it so people can understand it and know it and embrace it and be a part of it. Then
I
with
think.
that,
Go ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I was going to say I think that's important as well. The you're saying be deliberate with what you're going to do, but I also think um, that men are working together to a bigger goal. In my opinion, has always been what we're trying to do. I think it's the lack of professionalism. I think it's looking at. I mean, we're brothers in arms. We can have each other's back, but I still need you to be professional in how you carry yourself. Because eventually, even if we're working in a community of blacks. And we have a whole bunch of black people. Eventually, we're going to run into other races, and other races don't, even if we view business slightly different, because working together as black men is different because we're just different. Eventually you're going to be in a room or a place with a different race, and it's not even about code switching. Well, maybe it is, but just being that professional and letting that shine through versus, well, yeah, we're just that's just my brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm in a couple different places now where it's like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
it's business, but it's relaxed business as far as you get your job done, you do what you got to do. But hey, listen, I'm gonna still be me, man. If I don't like that and I want to say, f that, that's what I'm gonna say. Like that's the type of group that I'm in. Now
Mm-hmm.
there was an experience too when I was at a job. A lady came in with her husband, her child, and I kept it, straight business. I didn't make any jokes. I didn't, try to, pull the black card out, and I didn't do any of that. You know what I mean? But at the end of that, the lady was like, "I'm thank you for being so professional with us. Sometimes I go a lot of places, and people want to, go left with me, but I like it when people just keep it professional with me." She wound up signing her and her husband up. So some people like that, but then some people do like the other way if they dealing with they feel like they dealing with their family. Now, if they're dealing with somebody else, a matter of fact, I was in a Harvard study group last night that they was talking, not last night, the night before last. They was talking about reparations for black people, and there was this black guy in there.
Mm-hmm.
And like they was just going down the list and letting everybody talk. But this guy would just come in whenever he wants. He'd come in whenever he wants and say what he wants to say. But at that time, he was literally saying the N word right there in a room full of like doctors and professors, and you know what I'm saying. And he was young, you know what I mean. But at the same time, he was like, y'all can't tell us what to do with reparations. Like, y'all can't tell us how to do or what we should invest it in, or like it's not your conversation.
Why did he feel that way?
Now, if you want us to have
Why
it,
did he feel that?
the ones who are were enslaved, they're not the ones who took on all this that happened during that time. So it's like it's sort of like how I like to say it like this. I call it the what's the Bama name who makes the cigarettes?
Oh, I can't think of his name. Who makes cigarettes?
Damn. What anyway, him, Philip Morris. He's the type of person who got the tobacco farms, provide you with the cigarettes, but then also he got the nicotine and the Dora patch or whatever so he's playing
Yeah.
both sides of like how you gonna cause the issue and then try to fix the issue too. Like, nah. But at the same time, it's like, how are y'all gonna tell us what we should do with the money and how we should invest it and all of that stuff? Like, that's for the black community to decide on what they're going to do with their money.
And
And
before you go on, so I'm assuming that the people in this chat were white. Yeah.
white, Indian, all different kinds. I mean, they
Not
was
black,
actually, yeah, and black too.
but the
But
majority was.
majority of the people who go to Harvard are
Yeah. Yeah.
international and white.
Okay. So my only pushback would be obviously it's not about needing other races per se, but I've seen is when it comes to talking to black people, men and women, it's almost like there's this fear to talk about certain things. We don't want to come off a certain way. We don't want to get into arguments over other things. But what I'm trying to say is it's not about what's wrong with just listening to someone's opinion and seeing if their advice holds water. Because as black people, it's not like we've made progress in respirations. You got, I can't remember his name, but rappers trying to do stuff. You got Ice Cube, you got hell, even I don't even like Jay-Z that much with it because of the whole title thing. But my point is what we're doing isn't working. So what's wrong with an outside opinion? And I think that's part of the crux of our being black. That's just such an issue for me is that now is a white person going to come into my house and start saying things? I get it. However, I would still listen to someone's opinion as long as you're not disrespecting me. Hey, bro, I see that you have a hole in the wall. I think you should use this, and this plaster, whatever else you need. But he saw the way I did it with another wall, and he was like, "No, I think you used the wrong material for that." Just my opinion. I'm not going to sit there and blow up at the guy. People trying to give me a solution to a problem that's not yet fixed. I'm not just going to be upset and say, "How could you dare talk?" Because what we're doing isn't working. So I get it. I'm not, I can't say I agree with it wholeheartedly because I listen to another opinion. See if they're saying something that's worth, oh, I should tell my black friends about this. You know what I'm saying? Use words, tell people what you hear. Let other people get an idea of how you feel, how you think, and then take in all these opinions. As long as no one's disrespecting you, or I mean, or even your people, they're just trying to help. I don't see an issue with at least listening. It doesn't mean you have to do what they said, but why can't you sit there and just listen? I think we use that we're black and we've been through this, all these things. So, and we should be able to do and say how we want, even from black men that don't want to cut their hair when they try to go to corporate America. I get how things have been for us. I've done the research, I've read it, but in that same breath, even all the mistakes and the government saying they're fucking sorry, which I think is ridiculous, but you can still listen to someone's outside opinion because maybe they have a different perspective and view that can lead you in your inside opinion to say, oh, well, they said this, but I'm a switch it around to this, and I'm a try to project it to other black men and black women because it may be a good idea that could come in the future. You know what I mean?
I definitely understand your point on that, but I kind of felt like the guy felt, man. Like, haven't they said enough or done enough? I mean, to already impact my life to the way that it is right now. And then now, because they feel like they're giving me something, like now they want more input on my life, on what they should do or on how they should direct the money. Dude, there are so many reparations that have already been given to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
That didn't even build this country. They're giving reparations to people even in other countries.
Mm.
So for you to tell me that, well, what do you think we should do with the money, or how do you think they should get the money, or this, that, and the third? Like I feel if you're not in the community, you can't really speak on none of that. Right? That's up to the people. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm the type of person who listen to people's opinions too.
Okay.
But at the same time, I don't need a group of other people of other ethnicities telling me what I'm going to do with, or what we should do, or how we should get. Like, one, they're not even trying to give it to us. We're still fighting, trying to get it. I mean, we even had a black president in office during the time of the bill coming up, and nothing. You know what I mean? Did all this stuff for all these other people, but nothing. Now, that can help because that's a part of community building. And when I say, that's a part of community building, after you get your focus and you are deliberate about your decisions, then you do need tools and strategies that support the communities, whether if it's going to be, trade schools or, college or universities that, the kids are going to, or, whatever it is that your purpose is, your focus is, and what you're trying to build, you're going to need access to money to do that. You know what I mean? So even with the skills that the community members have, like you were saying, using those tools and those strategies to support the community. Don't go out looking for somebody else. Use the people within your circle. You know what I mean? Because this is the funny thing to me. Most people who've done something with like black owned businesses, like online and everything like that, they get mad when the product come late, when they get the wrong thing, this, that, and the third. But honestly, how many times has that happened to you at your favorite restaurant or your local restaurant?
Hell, Amazon.
Hey, what do? You send it back and you order it again, or they rectify the situation and you good to go. But when it happens with a black-owned business and they know that everybody is getting back into that mode, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not at the best that they can be right now because They're building. Everybody's trying to build. Everybody's trying to produce. Everybody's trying to create a presence for themselves. You know what I'm saying? So I think those things right there are very important, man. So, purpose, focus, purpose, deliberate decisions on how you're going to, engage with this community and build this culture. And then, finding and using the tools and strategies to support the communities. And then from there, man, you have to involve the people. Like you can't just have this community and be like, okay, they're there and they're like retweeting and reposting and coming to this march, but you have to really use those people, get their voices out, let them be involved in what's going on. And that's how you're going to be able to keep those people empowered in the community as members of the community and have a lot of worth. And that's what I think that needs to take place.
Yeah, I mean, I give you those steps as far as I think it's like you build trust. Yeah, you have to, work with people, find out how you want your culture to be ran. You got to educate the younger people, especially young black men who, a lot of them born out of wedlock, no dads in the house. Even though those stats, black men being the most of all fathers, but um, I do think that there are other steps to make, but to me, the men working together won't be an issue. Even if as black men, it's sometimes I guess challenging. We can do it. You brought up the fact that if something comes late, packaging or it's looked down upon even harder than if your Amazon package gets lost. And to me, that leads into what I think is the crux of, or let's say triage, the thing you have to handle first, and that's our women. Um, it seems that there's a higher standard, even, and when it comes to business, it's black men as well. There's a higher standard if a black owned business is doing something for you. If they're sending you a package and it gets there 2 days late, you're throwing a hissy fit. If you're at a black owned restaurant and the food takes too long to come out, you're like, how can my people do this to me? But if you're in these other races, white, Asian, Hispanic, if you're in one of those places, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, it'll get out here soon. Oh, eat some bread, drink some water, And for black people in black business, there's like this: you got to be to a higher standard because we're black, and to me that leads into our women, where a woman would say that she couldn't date down, quote unquote. And I hate that term, but couldn't date down, if she's black and date down a black guy who's not making the same amount of money as her, but then go marry a white guy, marry a Hispanic man, marry an Asian man. The standards that they have for black men are different than the standards they have for other races of men. And to me, the reason why the women are the crux are because um, without relationships and family, there is no community. Women push the culture forward. We live in a let's say, what are the word they like to use? Tatiana. I just call them hoes or whores. I mean, you want these synonyms for to make words seem nicer because, you got this liberal. Oh yeah, you can't fat shame. Yeah, body shame, and don't talk to people mean. It's toxic masculinity. It's been this essential gender war against men and women. And I say all that to say that black women, in my opinion, have taken on most of that. I've listened to black women say, like, you don't know the type of stress and burden we're under and all these things. Then someone asks us a simple question like, do you think that it was harder when your moms were growing up versus now, your grandmas and moms? And were all those women made of tougher stuff? And a lot of women say yes. It was harder back then. So with more education, more freedom, more independence, you've gained what's the stress you're under? It's because you're by yourself and there's no man with you. And to me, that is the start. We have to get our women on board with us. So my question would be, why do you think it's so challenging for a black woman to follow a black man's lead, particularly when he's an average earner or he's a guy coming up? Why do you think it's such an issue for a black woman to just be like, I'm gonna let you do your thug thistle because I believe in you. I trust you. I think that you can make good decisions, and you can work with other groups of or with other men of our group to build something for us. Besides, well, y'all ain't do nothing. Y'all ain't do nothing for us. You don't pay my bill. You don't blow my back out. You're not worth anything but a penis or a wallet. Why is there such a disconnect between black women and black men when we're supposed to be able to come together and build this community?
I mean, I wish I could answer the question, but I mean, I can't. I mean, if you listen to what they're saying, though, they saying that they're free, they're independent, they don't have to, they can choose, and that's the choice that they're making. Why they're making that choice? Maybe no one else has told them what choices they should make, or how to build the community, or what position to play, or how to play that position. And by all means, I'd rather, a woman do whatever it is that she want to do to be happy. You know what I'm saying? Because they do have that choice. But if they want to be a part of the community and, you know, participate within the community, then they would have to, level up to a point where, and I don't mean level up as in like actually level up. I mean like play their part based on the dynamics of a relationship. So why? You got me there. Why is it? Because they can. What's going to change? Who knows? You know what I mean? Are enough women going to say that, okay, we need to start doing something different and start holding each other accountable for it? Maybe. If they don't do that, though, it's nothing that we can do as men in the position that we're in with our women right now. So the only thing you can do is just level yourself up. You feel me?
And yes, I absolutely agree. And you would know this more than I would, because to me it was even more prevalent in your time. I hear that back in the days, if you were a woman that was pregnant or had a baby outside of wedlock and you tried to go to church, that baby became your cousin. You went away for 10 months, 11 months, and you came back and your grandma had a new baby that she got from your sister that is 28 and she lives outside the country. You know what I mean?
I mean, I ain't see that. Nah.
You
I
see
ain't see that yet, but
but you get my point, right?
yeah.
That there was a
Absolutely.
level of shame and don't do these things and know you'll be looked at a certain way, and women had a different type of image. And here, to me, here's the strong, independent black woman. And I wanted to, because to me, this is all the we don't feel protected, all the where the good men at, all that type of stuff stems from not having your own stuff. It stems from not having a community, nowhere where you can have, let's say, connections, a place where you build trust with people, a place where you see people that share your reflection that don't always act a certain way. I hear men from all races, include our own, saying they don't date black girls, at least the ratchet ones. I don't want a ratchet black chick. I don't want a chick that's the image of black women is just as bad as the image of black men. Over sexualized, your Cardi B's, your Megs. And then when I talk to women about it, they tell me, well, that doesn't matter. Men have been talking about women for years. It's always a pushback as far as, well, men did this, well, men did that. To me, it's just the black community is a matriarchy, a whole bunch of single moms raising young boys and girls, and then blaming the fathers for not being there. But I know of stories, and a few of them, where the mom keeps the child out of the father's life on purpose, just to be petty, just use a kid as ammunition. So I'm saying all that to say, how can we as black men want to go out into the world? Because I'm not going to hold you. I'm doing it regardless. But I'm talking about for the subset few who were raised by single moms, who don't understand masculinity, who don't understand that you need to be able to lead for a woman to follow, and you have to be on your purpose, and you have to, make some money. Now, I don't think you should have to make $100,000 a year to get a woman to submit to you. I think that's crazy. I think that the hypergamy has gone up in this day and age because of Instagram and social media, I should say. But there's still average people getting with the average people. And it's okay if you want to live your life as a $42,000 a year man. And the crazy part is, and this is when I get back to those standards I was talking about earlier, where a black man that wants a black woman, but he doesn't want to deal with her attitude, and then he gets a white girl, a Hispanic woman, uh, uh, an Asian woman, and then they're mad at the black man. But you'll have Gerlani Loves who marry out, and it's okay. You're what's Gabrielle Sidibe? Oh yeah, it's okay. But as soon as a black man does it, it's an issue because black women want black men to be loyal to them. But what are they giving us? There's no support. Hey, go out there and kill the dragon and come home and I love you. Have a good day. You know what I'm saying? All this masculine energy where they honestly just look down on us. Not all, but in my opinion, at least 80%. In a world where we can't even marry, women leave at an 80% clip, and then want to talk about why don't men marry us? I mean, it's not based. A lot of our problems are from they stem from some type of systemic racism, but the reason why that's not one of my arguments is because it's it doesn't help us in the long run. I get what they did to us and know it was not right. However, if we were able to work together, we would be in a better position. And now I'm not black women like the Goldman and Sachs that gave them what 10 billion after George Floyd died. I thought that was funny. To me, that was like a shot at a black man. Like, look, a black man died. We're going to support black women. And it's more to just create the divide between our communities. So my next question would be, as men who are doing their best to get to a more financially stable position, that are actually going to put in or putting in the work to get to a better place in life, uh, if they were to, let's say, blow up, and whether it's from 45, 50 to 60 to 100K, would you think that it was our responsibility to then not not get our women on our side, but to be with the black woman that didn't want to be with you before?
Well, one thing you can do is penalize all black women for one black woman, but that's
Of
what
course.
happens a lot. So, I mean, it just depends on the relationship that you build with the black woman that you're talking to. Now, if it's your thing to say, hey, she didn't want to be with me then, she don't need to be with me now, then that's definitely a choice that you can make, or individual can make. But the thing is that, are you going to be the one who tries to bring the black community together in the ways that you feel like the black community should come together? Or are you going to be one of the ones that say, you know what, they gave up on me, I'm going to give up on them? Now, that's again totally your choice.
Mhm.
But the thing about it is that the ones who are in a relationship with a black woman right now, yes, they could use less stress because they do put a lot of pressure.
Mhm.
But at the same time, the system was built like that. Now, for the ones who understand what's going on,
Thank you.
okay, they could try to work against it, but it's literally like you have a computer and you have Microsoft on it.
Hmm.
Now you want to put Safari or Catalina or whatever or Linux on that system. You either got to wipe that system clean, or if you throw it over top of it, it's still in the background. So it's going to be a process. It's going to take time, and it's not something that's going to change overnight because it's already been like this for so long. It's patience. It's continuing to encourage and motivate them. It's continuing to invite them into the community that you're in, that you want them to be a part of, and showing them the ways that it should be done, or your opinion on the ways that things should be done, or how it works, and creating those situations and scenarios so that the relationship get built. But if I'm over here yelling, saying one thing, and then she's over there yelling, saying another thing, like, it's never going to happen. So in the meantime, I feel like what we can do is another thing too. Before I say this, but another thing too is that everybody's experience isn't the same. So Some people may have grown up with the same stipulations, but got something else out of it. Kid may have been in, you know, a Boy Scouts all his life, or a part of the church, or even if his father wasn't around, maybe there was some other man somewhere. He might have been in boxing or in football or in and something that gave him a male presence and gave him a strong leadership male presence. So the same effects that one might have where there's no man because his mother doesn't have a person there, but the kid has male role models in his life through other things that he participated in. So with that said, to everybody has to figure out what's going to work best for them. So by invitation that people can even have a conversation to get over, where they want to be and where they going.
And just to kind of sum this up, I do agree that you can't judge every black woman the same because, in my opinion, there are some gems out there, black women that understand and can be submissive, and submissive isn't like a slur to them, that can be cooperative and that can follow a man's lead. I've also, but to me, that's just not the majority. So to me, it's not punishing a single black woman and making her all black women. To me, it's sad to say that it's the majority of black women that carry themselves in this particular fashion. Like I said, I mean, I've watched videos where other races of men are saying, I can't date a black woman, or at least a ratchet black woman. They have to say ratchet black because it's not just black women that you can't date. It's the ones that are loud, ignorant, and loudly incorrect, or at least in your opinion. But to me, that leads into, you know, I brought up Kevin Sams a couple times, and I I never I never thought of it as something crazy. I had I'm in a going to a restaurant with a couple friends. I'm looking at a black woman. She's smiling, she's smiling, she's smiling. Everybody that's going down. I finally get down there with my friends, and I get this stone face. I'm goofy. I make her laugh. I get a grin, but when I sit down, I'm like, damn, she wouldn't even smile at a brother. And I never really thought that. I thought it was just a me experience. Maybe I came off a certain way. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe it's just my fault. And to hear, I mean, at first it was just one black woman from a Kevin Samuels show, but I mean, since that has happened, there's been a multitude of black women talking about we can't smile. We don't want to have to smile. I don't feel protected enough to smile. I can't even get a warm, welcoming face. Men telling other stories. One man said, I went to Starbucks and tried to buy a black woman a coffee. She said I could buy my own goddamn coffee. I buy a white woman coffee. She can't wait to run outside and thank me. It's the difference in our culture. Now, yes, I've heard this social programming thing. And I mean, I believe it because hell, I was a certain way until I figured it out myself. But to me, maybe I'm a little harsh on it because now I know. But what do you want to do to get the outcomes that you want? Is it worth it? And as far as black men, I think black men want to be with black women more than black women want to be with black men. I mean, because you know, I want to be with a black woman, but I wouldn't sacrifice my happiness for it.
I
I
don't think
wouldn't. You don't think what?
I don't think so,
Why?
because if that were true,
What, that black men want to be with black women?
more.
Uh-huh.
If they don't want to be with black men, who do they want to be with? You see, that's one question. And then the second question to that is that if they did, why are so many of them ending up single rather than with someone?
I can answer that question for you right now. It's because of their attitude, the way they carry themselves. And I've heard black women call white men zaddy. That's where that term apparently came from. I never knew that, but or white zaddy or whatever. But the problem is, and when it comes to relationships and marriage, that's the men's job, right? So the reason why I've heard, okay, I break it down. I have a 20-year-old friend. in the goddamn military talking about how he might have to, hey, this I might have to get this girl pregnant, blah blah blah, and she's white, right? And he's talking about, well, I'm asking questions like, why didn't you, why don't you want to date a black girl? He's dated them, but the way he's been treated by black girls, his mom, his sister, black women around him, has not invited him to want to be with more black women. But the white women, the Hispanic women, and he was even talking about how Latinas can be spicy, and they can. And a man can handle some spice. I can handle some spice with a black girl too. I do like the little bit of sass. I think that comes off as cute when done not all the fucking time. But the problem that I've seen with men in general, from all races, in dating or marrying black women, is their attitude. And they don't like, just be nice. You know how surreal it was to run into a black woman that was just nice to me just because? But the sad part is, guess what? It was a black woman who already had 3 kids. She was already pushing 40. And in my opinion, as they get older, they realize, oh, hey, I should be nicer in this way. Yeah, I should do these things differently because it is attracting more men to at least want to be around me. But when you're young and every guy's throwing themselves at you because you're between the ages of 18 to, let's give it to like 32, and black women can look good up in their 40s. And it's some of the
60s too.
Hey, I'm not gonna go that high, but yeah, I've seen it. There's a woman named Tammy I used to work with. I got you. But my point is those women that are feminine, sweet. Just honestly, the crazy part is, bro, I will be willing to deal. Well, not now, but at one point, I will be willing to deal with certain things that I didn't like, the attitude, the constant sass. If black women were just nicer. But back to my friend, he's more concerned with marrying or possibly getting a white girl pregnant because she's just nice to him. She's feminine and sweet. And I'm defending black women like, all right, listen. If you want to date or marry a white girl, that's your prerogative. But don't act like every black woman is like the I'm bad, I could do better about myself, strong. It's not all of them. And I'm sitting here defending them like, damn, I'm over here because I do want black families. I do want to be with a black woman. But from my perspective, black women don't want to be with us. They get jobs in corporate America, look down on men that are blue collar men that are plumbers because the word plumber doesn't sound attractive. And you can't make this type when you're watching the videos that people react to, when you're in the Negroes Manosphere, you're watching Kevin Samuels, and particularly Kevin Samuels because the women that he brings on every night. And I've watched this man towards the end of his male content, watched all his male content, and watched his female content. Women literally saying, if a man can't blow my back out, give me $100,000 when I want to, go to Hawaii, Italy, that he can't be my man. I'd rather be by myself. So in my opinion, black women would rather be alone than be with a black man that is in their mind not up to their standard. And then it doesn't hit them that they're alone until it's too late. And in my personal life, I'm watching this type of stuff go on with my grandma, who's not in the best health. So I'm looking at this like, is this the life you want? Where you got to hope that you have a grandchild or a cousin or just some random family member that cares enough about you to stay with you because you're by yourself, because you chose not to marry or in some cases remarry, or what is more worth it? And I think men understand more than black women. Black men understand more than black women that life comes down to people. Yeah, I'm going to make all this money. Yeah, I'm going to do all these things. But when I'm old, I want to have a woman next to me or my family next to me or my boys next to me. And the fact that young black men are looking at black women and going, yeah, I'd rather just date a white girl. I'd rather date a Hispanic girl, an Asian girl, because at least they're nicer. At least they smile at me. At least when I give them a compliment, it's not like, who do you think you're talking to? I can buy them a coffee and they actually be happy I bought them a coffee, and I'm not even expecting a sexual favor. I'm just happy to see a woman happy. And I can't get that from my own group. My own women that share my complexion look at me like, nigga, if you don't get that, get out my face. I haven't been nuclear rejected by any other race but black women. And that could just be my experience. I've gone after them all, but and it's just like, damn, okay, you don't gotta blow up like that. I see you later. But there's all these things that black women feel we're not protected. Well, you're not protected, but you can't even be nice to a brother. You can't smile at a brother. You don't owe a man anything. So what does a man owe you? And it sucks to come off that callous, but to me it's true. Because at this point, as a black man, I'm just disappointed. I did not know it was this bad. I'm young and dumb, foolish. I thought I knew more than I did. That's why in your 20s you don't know anything. But it's just disappointing to look at the women that share your reflection and have to worry. You can't even go up to her and say something like, "Hi, beautiful," because you don't know how she's gonna take it. You don't know if she's gonna react in a poor way. Well, I got a man. I don't know why you're over here talking to me. I can't just You just hello. I'm just trying to say hi and be nice to you. And when you can't get that type of respect, just respect back. Human decency. Women saying that a smile is like being promiscuous. What do you do with that? How do you build with that? And last thing I want to say is, you were talking about how, women, black women in particular, do apply that pressure. And that's the problem. Now, the pressure is always there for a man to achieve, because as men, we understand that nothing's going to save us. So you don't need extra pressure from your girl or the woman you may want to become your wife. She should be your support system. Now, you should get yourself to a certain point as far as your mental, your physical, and you got to get to that point by yourself. When it comes to building your own world, if she wants to be a part of the building process, that's cool. Now, is she needed? No. But you would want her there, because the right woman can make a man even better beyond what he's already progressed to. A man that's made it to 100% can reach 1,000% with the right wife, with the right woman that's always backing him and supporting him, not belittling him and talking to him like he's crazy because, oh, you lost this money, so you can't ever do that again. Oh, you're losing your job. If you don't get a job in a couple of months, I don't know if this relationship gonna last. I'm pregnant. I don't know if I want to have the kid, or I'm gonna have the kid and I'm not gonna be with you, because why would I have a kid with a man that's crazy? I mean, all these things, all these women. You have therapists that don't even go to therapy. It's just, and they're black women. And it's sad to see how far we've fallen. And I get where we come from. I get that it's not all on them. They were this is part of the social program, and I get it. But eventually you have to wake up and say, well, let's look at my life. I'm not getting anything but sex from these men. No one's sticking around. Everyone's just kind of having sex with me and leaving. So maybe I should, but no, that's never the thought process. It's always a man's fault. And sure, you can say that's part of the world, but listen, if you want a black man and a black man tells you why it's hard to be with you, you have black women telling men what they should want. A real man would do this. A real man would do that. But then get offended if I talk about what I want in women, feminine, fit, friendly. I mean, the overweight issue in America is one thing, but in our community, it's hella prevalent. I'm a fat guy losing weight. I get it. I get it. But when are you going to put in the work and say, I'm here, I don't like it here, I want to be better? Why does a dress size 4 and a dress size 12 feel the same to black women? And again, I've seen the movies. I get it. A barbershop, the Queen Latifah, what was the beauty shop? The white girl who got a nice butt because she was eating collard greens. I get it. But there has to be a point where you say, hey, none of this is working for me. I can get men to have sex with, but none of them are sticking around. Why is that? And then you get an answer and you're still, well, that can't be right. Men shouldn't want that. Men shouldn't want this. We're shallow for wanting a woman that looks attractive. Or if she's a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Who made these numbers? We've been using this for forever. This is actually how men think. And men have been dampered down and put into the dirt to the point where men are afraid to be men because of what women say about them, the perceived notion about them. So in order to build a community, we need black women that are willing to follow a black man's lead. That's not going to question his every fucking move. That's not going to belittle him, yell at him, scream at him over things that are just mistakes. Oh, you lost $500. And my last point would be, I was talking to an older black man that's about 70 years old. And I'm talking to him about the same things that we talk about with black women in the black community. And he's talking to me how, yeah, no, I get it. I've been there. But this man is 50 years older than me, Bach. He's lived a life, a military man, been an entrepreneur for over 20 to 30 years, married 2 black women previously, and now he gets flack because he's married to a Hispanic woman. but he tried before. It didn't work out. He doesn't blame the women. He has some of the same points that you have. Well, it's not all on them. I agree.
All
But eventually
but
it has to
eventually
be, well, are you going to take
are
responsibility
you
for
going to
yourself? Go ahead.
do
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's the way it is, you know. It's just the
Yeah.
way it's the way of the world, you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that person who addicted to crack cocaine until they decide that
Hmm.
they're gonna get off of it.
Hmm.
So it's just it's just hard.
I mean, because it's just black. Okay? Black men, in my opinion, they're giving up, and that's not on the women per se as far as what they're going to do. Like you said, life is about choices and trade offs. You make the choice, but why? My question would be, why do black men feel like they need to give up on black women? Why?
I mean,
Why are we at that point? Go ahead.
I don't think we gotta give up on them. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what some people are doing. I just don't think we have to give up on them. I just think what we have to do is we just have to, you know, keep striving to do what we do best. And I think eventually they'll come around. You know what I mean? It might not be when you call, you know, but
Yeah.
they're gonna come around. You know what I mean? Whether if it's, you know, now or later. But the one thing that I think that we can do as men
Hmm.
is you know, we gotta change because again, like I said, like everybody is not, you know, that same black woman who is just a hood booger. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So as much as, you know, they have to change, you know what I mean? As much as we have to change. And when I say we have to change, I mean like, you know, Pookies and Ray Rays, and you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Changing that culture of it, you know what I mean? Because just as much as we seeing, you know, the stripper and the, you know, all of that, and you know, booty popper and all of that, is
Hmm.
as much as they seeing the gangbanger and, you know, 10 people got shot up in this area by two black kids the other day, or you know what I mean? Like the same, it's like on both sides of the field, but the thing is I think that what they don't realize is how much more we need them to be able to put things back in order. And I just want this is what I really want is for them to understand that, you know, for me at least, like for me, I do want my wife to be submissive, but I want her to be voluntarily submissive
Yeah.
in a way that, you know, benefits, you know, us and our marital relationship. You know, because I know it has to take a strong and a confident woman to be a submissive wife. And, you know, I don't want her to not have an opinion and I control every aspect of her life. I just want her to be nice to me and for us to work on things to go forward in life. You know what I mean?
Hey, I'm trying to tell you, black men don't. That whole idea of controlling the color purple ish, that is nowhere near what a black men. Okay, for a wife, you value your wife's opinion. It all comes down to who makes the final decision, and that's the man. And that's all I say to. Hey, listen. Of course, you're my wife. Why would I sit here and ignore you? You're my wife. I made you my wife for a reason because I value you more than sex. That's why you're my wife, because I think of you as more than sex. So I value your opinion. I would listen to it, but just know, even if I don't go the route that you thought or what your opinion was, doesn't mean I value it less. It just means that I think I have a idea that may incorporate it a little or less than you would like it, but I still value your opinion. And the pushback on the thugs and pookies and ray rays would be that the black women, how many have you ever, a black woman that says, I need a man with some thug in him. The black woman that doesn't want to marry or be with the guy that's in the tech company, that's a lawyer or a doctor because he's too much of a quote unquote square. And I've heard that growing up. I've heard that from women now. I mean, even women that make videos about the type of guys they like. He don't gotta be a thug, but he gotta have some a back. No, you don't need a
That's
man that's
that's
like
that
a thug.
protection. That's
That's
the
why. So that's what I'm saying, though, Box. So I get you. I'm not, and as men, I'm a man that's working on myself as we speak. I get it. Men need to do their thing as well. But what I've seen on the internet, what I've seen in my observable reality is men that are trying or quote unquote leveling up. Men that want to be better men, listening to the Roommates podcast, listening to Kevin Samuels, O'Shea Duke, MTR, Steph is Cold, AMS, MJ Get, listening to other black men on how to become better black men, get your purpose together, get your fitness and mental health together. And once you get to that point in your career, women, will come. So I'm only hearing about black men that are trying to make their lives better and the future of their potential kids, their potential wives, the security better. But I'm not hearing that from women, particularly black women. I hear about more finessing and, oh, you got to date your man that's making a lot of money so that you can get a bag when you want to go out. This one, oh my God, go to a eating place that's near a mall. So when he asks you what you want to do next, that way we can go shopping. Like it's not about relationships. And in my opinion, okay, so I get pushed back when I talk about Cardi B and Meg because, well, rappers and all this other stuff. Well, I hear what you're saying, but I still watch you twerk to those rappers that you call misogynistic. I still see women, not all black, but women in general, that still go to concerts and become groupies to these men. The woman who was white woman, but Little Pump had sex with her, nutted on her face, and he put her on Instagram Live, but she's talking to her boyfriend on FaceTime, talking about, I'm leaving you, I'm Lil Pump's girl now. Just shit like that. So even though
he even black?
No, Lil Pump, I have no clue, but everybody's saying the N-word from him to goddamn 6ix9ine. So I don't know their ethnicity. I think he's just Hispanic.
Yeah, I think the Spanish community feel like they can say it because they're Spanish, they're not white.
Yeah, I mean, but I've also heard stories of people that lived in New York and the Puerto Ricans and black people being super close and also having a beef between each other. So I've heard black people talk about how they don't care about it. I personally, if you ain't black, don't say it, but they're not my friends. So hell, that's where we are. You know what I mean? And I just say all this to say, man, black men and men in general are trying to get themselves to a better position, the best position they can. And if a man ends up only making $45,000 to $60,000 in his lifetime, that means from 20 to about, let's say, 50 years old, 65 years old. If that's not good enough for a black woman in particular, because you'll have white women that make more than their white counterparts and still be submissive, still go home, cook and clean. And those are just things that, I mean, the not being able to cook, the not liking of cooking, the not liking of domestic housework because their moms say go out and be independent. And you got older women telling younger women, and then those same older women, as they get older and they realize that they can't get another man, telling their daughters like, hey, no, I was wrong. You should, or not even I was wrong, but now you should go get a man. Now you should stop doing that. But for their first 24 years of life, they were saying the opposite. So in my opinion, as of right now, black men in particular, we're being told by other black men, your value's not high enough for her to stick around. You don't have anything to offer her. You need to get your value up. If you're out of shape, you need to get your body in shape. If you haven't had mental health, go get your mental health checkup. You have black men telling young black men, these are the steps you need to take. Do them quickly or eventually you'll have to get a woman that's not as attractive. Yeah, you might have to deal with a woman that's very turbulent. And then it always goes back to, because predominantly black community is Christian, hey, the quote, if you find a wife, you find a good thing. But it also says in the Bible, I'd rather be by myself in the attic than deal with a disgruntled woman. So it's a give and it's a take. And I think that we're in a position where the wheels are turning. Women are starting to understand because of your Kevin Samuels, because of the manosphere, because where men are, and black women do seem to want black men. But in my opinion, that's the minority, because you still have this strong, independent, I don't need no man. And last thing I want to say, I was on Facebook and a girl posted this picture, and it was a black woman drowning, and then it was like the point was that when they're drowning, other people give them a high five, like you got it, girl. Well, if you say you're strong, independent, don't need no man, and I commented on it. I was like, well, if you say these things, men look at you and say, oh, okay. So the contradiction will be that you need help because you're saying you don't need no man. You're saying you don't need no help. You're saying that you could do bad by yourself. So then when people leave you by yourself, you're like, oh. Even the woman on the Kevin Samuel show that was like, after saying all that crap about not wanting to smile, and Kevin says, well, what if all black men just ignored you? How would that? Would you like that? She says no. So you want black men to approach you how you want them to approach you. It's that type of control. It's that type of mindset that leaves a lot of women alone. And what I think women are failing to understand is that men, regardless if it works out or not, we can go out and get married tomorrow. We could find some random chick on the street and get married. I can get married in my early 20s. Now, would I do it? No, because I know I couldn't provide for a wife. I couldn't provide for a kid. I ain't got nothing. But I could still go do it, where a woman can't just go get married. She can't just find a guy and say, you're my husband. No, that's not your duty. That's not your job. So when it comes down to it, black women in particular have to want to be with black men. All this strong, independent crap got to go away. Because what does it do for us? What does it do for our communities? What does it do for our girls? You have young black girls learning, well, even and kids look at how their mom treats their dad, how their dad treats their mom, boys and girls. So when their mom is just yelling, upset, always talking trash, either in front of or behind the guy's back, those are traits that your daughter and your son pick up on. And in my opinion, for the son, it makes it more reserved. Because he's like, well, I guess, I'm not worth anything. I watch when my mom talks to this person or her boyfriend or her husband, and, she really doesn't care for him. And you got the daughter that's like, well, maybe that's how you're supposed to talk to a man. So she goes out and repeats the same cycle. But it all starts crumbling down once you hit 40, 45, and your options have officially dried up. And there's not anything left. You don't have kids, and you can't. You want a family or you want to get married, and after 35 years old, the odds are like 5%. And then when I say black women, 1 in 4 of you will marry. Well, I see black women that are married all the time. Well, guess what? For the ones you see that are married, there are 3 more that aren't and will never be. Why is our marriage rate at 25%? And the next lowest, I believe, is white women at 52%. Why is this the case? And you can call it social programming, but to be honest with you, at one point, I just felt bad for black women, because what are they going to get out of this deal? Not a goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing. So, ladies and gents, ladies in particular, gents, get your ish together. You're not going to be a perfect specimen at 25. And hell, if you're already making like money, like 75K, 3 times your age, hey, power to you. Hopefully you continue to grow. I'll catch up with you in a couple years, maybe 10, but I'll be there. But we have that time. Men can have 2 or 3 lifetimes, where women can only have 1 as far as fertility. So, play these games. You can have it your way. For women until about 40, for men maybe until about 60. Look at Lionel Richie. I think he's 78 with a 32-year-old that is bad. She is beautiful. So take what you. Real talk. Go ahead, Buck. Finish it up, brother.
Playing, huh? Yes, yeah. That's crazy, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, man. It is what it is, man. Hey, you gotta play the game smart, man. It's definitely a game out here. How you gonna position yourself for what your desired results? That's
exactly
what it comes down to,
Precisely.
If you position yourself for them desired results, you're good. If you miss the mark, you missed the mark, but you don't have nobody to blame but yourself.
Exactly.
And that's on both ends. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all know what it is. Everything DMV Radio in the building. Black Hoodie Podcast, BLKCP. We in the building, man.
Catch y'all next time.
Peace.